Welcome back to Everyday Health for the Christian Woman. I'm your host, Amber Swift, women's health specialist trained in integrative nutrition, functional health, traditional Chinese medicine, but all from a biblical worldview. So today I'm really excited because I want to personally invite you to a workshop that my friend Cara Nitz and I are running. It is all for the woman who is feeling depleted, who has tried everything, feels disconnected from her life and even her marriage. Because, when we do not feel well internally, it affects all of our relationships. And when we are completely running on just fumes and we keep going and going and pushing, and we don't stop and pay attention to those flashing yellow lights, they become these red, just glaring red lights. And so I want to invite you to a workshop that is going to be really, really special. I believe that you are going to benefit. It is happening on July 14th. And you can find the link and all of the information in the show notes. So, Cara is going to be my guest here today. I am so thrilled. She is a certified life transformation and trauma informed coach. She has spent over 15 years helping women experience healing, not just in their bodies, but also in their hearts and in their marriages, because it is amazing. It affects our health, affects every aspect of our lives, including our marriage. It reminds me of one of my clients from a couple of years ago, Kirsten. I have interviewed her here on the podcast. Her husband wrote up just his side, his view of everything. And he said that working with Amber not only helped Kirsten get her life back, but it saved her marriage. You guys, when we as women feel like our cups are empty and we can't focus and we feel miserable and we're not sleeping, we're exhausted, our hormones are completely out of balance, our nervous system is completely dysregulated, it affects our marriages too. I know that I have been there. So I'm so excited. So Cara works with women who feel stuck, overwhelmed, and disconnected, helping them to step out of survival mode and into the joyful, feminine woman that God created them to be. So I want you to sit down, put your feet up, grab a cup of tea, just put everything else on the back burner and lean in and listen to my interview with Cara Nitz. And then join us for our live workshop on July 14th. I know that you are going to leave so encouraged, so built up, so ready to be completely present in the life that God has gifted you with. That's my heart. I want you to thrive in the one life God has gifted you with. Listen in to my interview with Cara. Well, Cara, thank you so much for joining me here today. I am thrilled to have you.
Well, I am excited to be here and I'm thankful.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we're going to just jump right into this. So I have a question. Before we really get into like all of the other questions I have, I would just love to know, what is one thing that you enjoy doing that just brings you so much joy?
So many things, so many things. I mean, lately it's gonna sound silly to some people, but it's just being. It's just sitting out on my porch and just looking out at nature, like feeling the breeze on me, listening to the birds. That brings me so much joy. It's like the simple life. That's what it is for me.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I can completely relate because I'm a nature girl. Put me
Mm,
in nature and I feel so refreshed and like rejuvenated. Put me in the city and I feel like I'm being drained and sucked of
yeah.
life. So,
Mm.
yeah. So I love it. I love it. Yes. And don't you live on a big plot of land also?
Yeah, yeah. We live on 33 acres of land, so it's just absolutely beautiful, green everything right now. We live in the Ozarks, so the rolling mountains, and it's so lovely. It is just so life-giving to me.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to hop right into this because I love the whole thought of life giving, because that is what our lives are all about. God is always giving life to us, and He's always getting us to a place where we can actually be life giving to others. And so, what that I want to hear a little bit about your journey, your marriage journey, because I know that this has a lot to do with your mission. And so tell me about your marriage journey and what God has walked you through.
Yeah. So my husband and I just recently celebrated 20 years, which to us is a big deal because we didn't think we were going to
Yes.
get through 1 year of marriage. I remember first year of marriage, and I was like, if we make it to this anniversary, I will be shocked. And we got married with like no divorce in mind at all, but it was so painful for us. It was so hard that I was like, I don't think we're going to make it. So this was a big deal. Anyway, so we've been married for 20 years. We have 5 kids. And like I said, from the beginning, even it was our honeymoon, even it was just so disconnecting. We spent most of our honeymoon apart.
Mhm.
I just remember like being on the beach by myself at night, just wandering, not even knowing where he was. It was just a very painful time. And so then from that, it just kept going, and we weren't communicating well. We were feeling very unsafe with each other. It was very painful. We had in-law things. It was
Mhm.
just kind of one thing after the next, and we didn't understand that we both had come into the marriage with a lot of unhealed wounds already from before, and now we brought those in. We didn't even recognize they were there. And we were a lot of times triggering each other. We were misunderstanding each other. We're very opposite people. And so I'm used to something, he's used to something completely opposite. And now we're thrown in together. And it was really hard. So we went to marriage counseling already our first year. And we spent a lot of time, it was probably our first 15 years of marriage, which it was just pain after pain, disconnection, a lot of hurt. And then we started to finally understand the things that we really needed to heal and started to heal those. So the last 5 years have been different, very different. We're not perfect at all. We are not over here just, having some kind of perfect marriage. I don't think that exists, but we are in a very different place, and we're finally experiencing that kind of honeymoon period that we never
Mhm.
had before. And we weren't even really attracted to each other. I was not attracted to my husband at all. He was maybe physically attracted to me, but then he wasn't starting to he was starting to lose that as we were having so much pain. And so now we're enjoying this attraction. I mean, and so much more than that, but that's just one thing that I never thought I would have with my husband. I never thought I'd be attracted to him. And so some of those things are just really neat to be able to experience and see how God has redeemed something that I thought was lost forever.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, I have so many questions just flooding my mind because what you just addressed is the antithesis of what we expect when we get married. And it's
Mhm.
so funny because Mark, my husband, and I, we got in a massive fight on our honeymoon. And our first year of marriage, I literally remember praying. I was like, God, you're going to have to take one of us home. We're going to kill each other.
Yeah.
Like our first year of marriage was so bad. And
Mhm.
we were in full time ministry. I got pregnant 1 month after being married. I mean, you name it. So I just know that this story is so relevant to so many women. And so so this is probably a question I was going to ask later on, but I have to ask it now. So you say 5 years ago, what was that pivotal point where you were like, okay, this is actually getting better? So what
Mhm.
happens? Like, can you
Well,
kind of see what happens like five
yeah.
years ago?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it was starting to understand the masculine feminine dynamic in a relationship. We, for all these years before that, we're talking to our pastors, we're talking to Christian counselors. Nobody's talking about this, but we had it so backward where I was carrying this heavy load in more of this masculine energy, and he was more in passive energy, really disconnected from his masculinity as a man. And that was causing so much pain, so much exhaustion. And when we started to understand that, things just started to click, and we were able to start healing that. Now, that didn't that did not rebalance immediately. That is something we are still working on, but that was where the shift started and things started to heal.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Just even you saying that, I'm thinking back because Mark and I have celebrated 26 years and I can see that. Like I can see that. So give us a kind of a example or description of what that looks like when a woman is operating in that masculine energy. What does
Mhm.
that look like in like day-to-day
Yeah.
life?
So it's you're feeling exhausted. You're feeling like you're carrying everything. You're making all the decisions. You're running everything in your household, making sure things go smoothly. You feel like you have to do things that you don't want to do. Sometimes you think
Mhm.
you do want to do them because you're in this more control mode. You're feeling so unsafe that you're trying to control things to feel okay. So that's something that you struggle with a lot, is that
Mm.
control. A lot of times you're also struggling with self protection because you, again, feel so unsafe. And so you're kind of having this wall up around you. You don't maybe get vulnerable with others. You don't feel like you can relax or
Mm.
rest. You feel like you have to be on, you have to be going, you have to be accomplishing. Your value is kind of tied into what you do. I mean, I could go on and on, right? But that's just a little picture of what it looks like.
Girl, you just like explained me. It's oh my gosh, yes, that was me. I literally remember telling Mark, I feel like I have to hold everything and juggle everything. And if I don't, then everything will fall apart. And he was like, well, don't. And I'm like, okay. Like
Yeah.
that's so easy. So, okay, so that's the woman. So operating in more masculine energy. So then what does it look like if she's operating in feminine energy?
Mm, yeah, it's so beautiful. I just like melt when I think about it because it's such a difference. It's been such a difference for me to enjoy that now instead of what I was living in. But it's really it's more of this way of living where you live from rest. I live feeling held
Mm.
by God instead of living feeling like I need to do and I need to accomplish and I need to, there's so many things and I'm so stressed out all the time. Now I'm living and I can relax, right? I always tell women, like, I want you to be
Yes.
able to relax into your femininity. You already are feminine. You already are created that way. You have that in you. It's just that a lot of times our beautiful femininity gets buried under years and years of pain and burdens and stories. And so it's just buried under there. And we just
Mm.
get to kind of uncover it and heal those things so that we can come back to that and enjoy it again.
Yes. Yes. No, it's so true. It's so true because I remember the day my mom told me about, let's see, 18 years ago, she said, Amber, you make coffee nervous. And I was like, no, that sounds horrible. I was 30
Oh,
years old and she was like, you make coffee nervous. And it was that exact thing is that I love your terminology. I was operating more in that masculine energy and holding everything and just running, 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 trying to, because I have 5 kids also, trying to keep everything balanced. And then we were leading a church and,
yeah.
just all of the things. And so I love how you portrayed that, just relaxing and trusting. It's almost like an analogy that my husband used years ago. He was like, God is like my easy chair. He's like, I just need to sit back in him and rest. And so it's that beautiful picture of rest and
Mhm.
coming into that. So describe to me the husband operating in the feminine energy. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I don't know, isn't necessarily described as he's operating in feminine energy. We all kind of have certain masculine, feminine traits or that kind of,
Hmm.
energy in us. But for men who are not living in their masculinity, not stepping into that, because I think a lot of guys are in that place right now. They don't have the same kind of masculine role models that men used to have, and men are
Hmm.
looked at different in society now than they used to be looked at as well. So same with women. Women are now looked at differently in society than they used to. And I don't necessarily think some things are negative, but some things are, right? We as women have taken on more things than we maybe need to take on.
Yes.
And men have really let go of a lot of things that they needed to stand strong in. And so for a man, it's like it's more
Yes.
this passive energy where he just kind of is the agreeable one. He just makes right happy
Mhm.
wife happy life. That's not helpful. And
No, it's not.
if all he's doing is just trying to appease his wife and he's just trying to agree with everything that she says, he is actually he's gone from his role. He what she actually needs is a stable, strong source that she can relax into. And if she can't find that in her
Yes.
husband, then that just creates a lot of unsafety in the marriage.
Yes. No, I completely agree. And I will so when we were engaged, the men of our church threw Mark like a bachelor party, but not really. It wasn't a bachelor party. I don't even know how to describe it. But that was actually one of the words of wisdom he was given from an older man, happy wife, happy life. And Mark came to me and said that. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. Like, that just sounds so wrong to me because that puts all of the pressure on me and then it makes it out to be your job to keep me happy. And really, it is only the Lord that can make me happy, that can make a
Mhm.
wife happy. And it
Mhm.
really is resting in the Lord, looking to Him as your source of security and joy and life and happiness that can bring that true joy to us. But so many young men are raised like that. They're raised like they're just supposed to just, be passive and make their wife happy. And so in your marriage, what did you see happen as a result of your husband trying to live like
Yeah, well, that was why there was no attraction there. Like he came in actually with a
that?
lot of this people pleasing kind of nice guy energy. That was the way his family was. And so he
Yeah.
actually had a lot of wounds, unhealed wounds from that. Thinking that he really had lost his own identity as a man because he was always trying to shapeshift to be whoever was in the room with him wanted him to be. And so I was
Yeah.
not attracted to that because there was really nothing to be attracted to. It was just, it was
Mhm.
like, who are you even? And so that was part of
Mhm.
it. But also that left me then to make all the decisions, to handle conflicts, to lead our marriage, and that was something I did not want to have to do. I could do it, right? I'm very capable. Women are extremely capable.
Mhm.
But when we have to do
Mhm.
all of that, it is an overload on our body and it takes us right out of our relaxed femininity and it puts us in this more stressed, burdened place where we often then find ourselves in this survival mode where we've lost touch with who we even are as a woman.
Yes, yes. No, and I couldn't agree more because that is what we both see in our practices. Women who are running in that fight or flight, their nervous system is incredibly dysregulated, which then leads to a host of other issues. So, did you find yourself dealing with a lot of that? Like a lot of your nervous system in overdrive in fight or flight? Like, did you find yourself dealing with that?
Yeah, I mean, I was at one point I had gone into, I don't know if you use the term adrenal fatigue, but that place where, yeah, my adrenals were not functioning at 100%, not even close to anything, right? And I'm having all kinds of dysregulation in my body. My hormones are being impacted. I'm having weekly migraines. My skin is out of control. I have allergies. My immune system was so weak. My energy was down.
Yes.
I was so snappy, right? My mood, I didn't even
Hmm.
feel like myself anymore. I felt like just this woman who was just always trying to survive, get through it. And yeah, so that took a deep toll on my health.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, no, because that's my story. That's exactly my story. And listen, if you're listening and you haven't heard my story, go to episode 1. That is exactly my story. And yes, no, because, and okay, so it's this picture of, so here you are, Cara, you're married, and you marry what you think is the love of your life, and you're struggling, and you're Christians, and you're struggling through every single year. And what was that turning point? What was that turning point? Because so what I don't want women listening to think is that, oh, it's all my husband's fault that I'm like this. So what was that? I know there's two sides, but right, we're only responsible for our side. So what was that turning point where you saw for you that something needed to change? So I want to know what the turning point was, and then what did you begin doing?
Yeah, well, even in that first year of marriage, I started to realize a little bit that there were unhealed wounds for me. Like, because I was going to therapy for some issues from my childhood were being brought up into why, because I was struggling at that first year with deep depression, and so that's why I first went to see we went to see a counselor because I was very depressed, and so things started to come out. I had eating disorders in the past, and still actually was struggling with them then. And so things from my childhood started to come out a little bit. I did not still I still didn't fully realize a lot of the wounds that were there. And it was when it was all the
Yeah.
way, 15 years in when I told you we were starting to understand that masculine feminine dynamic. That's when I started to really realize, whoa, why do I feel the need to go to this place? And I don't think women a lot who are in their masculinity, I don't think every woman is in her masculinity because of necessarily things that happened before the marriage. A lot of times there's some of it, right? There's some unhealed wounds there. And then when your husband shows up a certain way, it kind of triggers those things. So we go into more self protection, we go into more control mode because we're already kind of feeling unsafe and needing safety. And so when we don't get that from him, we just see him now as a pain point, as another thing that we need to be wary of, that we need to be on guard against. And so I had to take ownership of that for myself, that there were things that I needed to heal that were impacting me. Yes, he did too. And there were unhealthy things between us, but we really both needed to heal our own individual things, because otherwise if you just keep coming to the marriage the same people and just trying to slap on a band-aid of like, try this communication technique, okay, do sex differently here, that's the same
Yes.
people, right, coming together. We need to grow
Yes.
and heal so that now it is two healing people coming together. That's what really makes the difference.
Mm. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, so many good nuggets here, because it's so true is that oftentimes when you're married and you have issues, people start attack the husband and wife begin attacking each other instead of he needs to heal, I need to heal, and then we can heal together. And then I also love that you were willing to go and get the help to heal. Because how often, I mean, I know I see this with so many women I work with, they usually are the last ones that they will take care of. They will take care of everybody else, and until their health is completely just a wreck, and
Mhm.
then they'll take care of themselves. But I love that young Cara was willing to go and get the help that you needed to begin. Yeah, no. And then I love, because you actually mentioned this to me in a conversation we've had previously, that you guys were getting help, you were getting counseling, but nobody was addressing this aspect of the masculine and feminine energy. So how did you guys, like, how did you come up with that? Like, what, I want to know, how did you come up
Yeah.
with it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I started to learn certain things, see things online. I think started with maybe an Instagram account that I saw, and I was like, whoa, like I have never heard of this. And we had specifically brought this stuff up to our pastor and therapists before, like, this is so unbalanced. Why does he not? And the pastor would just say, or the therapist would just say, yeah, kind of like just go back to the same passages of like, well, wives submit to your husbands, and husbands, love your wife. And it wasn't really, they were
Yes.
not digging into this. They did not understand it. And so there was like some light bulb things happening. And so I really started to pursue this to try to understand it. I was trying to find books. I was trying to find anything I could find to understand the feminine masculine dynamic and what that all meant. And so light bulbs were just going off left and right. And And I was trying to help my husband understand this as well, which, that's not, that's me again taking the lead, but sometimes that's okay. If wives realize that there's
Yes.
something going on, it's okay to say something. It's just that it's such a burden when we're doing that in all areas and in all the things.
Yes. Yes, no, I couldn't agree more. So, this is a question that I just know because in the church, oftentimes when people start saying words like masculine energy and feminine energy, a lot of times in the church, people immediately are like, "Oh no, what? No, that's wrong." So, tell me, how do you apply this like from a biblical lens also? Because I completely agree. God made us masculine and feminine. So, tell me how you apply this, like looking at it through a biblical worldview.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's such a. I think sometimes I don't think there's even something to really debate. I know people get up in arms sometimes about different terminology, but when you look at, who we are as women, you just talk to any woman. She doesn't want to be over functioning. She doesn't want to be exhausted. She doesn't want to make all the decisions. That is just the truth. And for talk to any man, he does. He has
Yes.
an inner drive to provide for and protect his wife. You can
Yes.
see that for, since the beginning of time, that God has, and it talks about it in the Bible, like God has given men this, like that command to like love your wife as Christ loved the church. I mean, that means laying your life down for her. And that again really goes into that masculine, part of him that he will lay his life down. He will do what it takes to do that for his wife. And I think, the femininity for women is also such a beautiful picture of our relationship with God and how we don't have to live in a striving way in our relationship with God. We don't have to try to earn his love or do enough things right. We get to rest. We get to relax into what he is already done for us and what he is continuing to do for us. And it is such a beautiful way that we get to live our lives. It's such a gift to live that way.
Yeah. Yes. No, it's so true because listening to you describe it, it's almost like a big fresh breath of fresh air. Like that's what it
Mhm.
feels like. Just like really I can be the
Yeah.
way that God created me to be. And it is amazing when you are operating in the exact just scenario that God created and learning to work together. And really, I believe the key is it takes a husband and a wife who are both willing to humble themselves and get their healing and then work together to heal. And so this is something that you're helping women to do, and I love it. So tell me, what would you, okay, so let's picture, so there's a woman listening because I know there will be a
Yes.
woman listening who's like, wow, Cara, you just described me and my husband. I am operating in a more masculine energy. He is operating in more feminine energy, and I am exhausted and burned out, and I'm on a hamster wheel. So, what would be like the first step she could take to get off and to
Yeah.
begin operating the way that God created her to?
hmm The first thing really I want to encourage you to do is to start to create space in your day. Create space to be with God and to be with yourself, right? I like to start my day out going on a walk in the field. So I mean, I am blessed that I have a pasture full of just birds, cows, horses. I can talk as much as I want out loud and nobody looks at me funny. But I love to go for
Yes.
these walks with God where I talk about how I'm feeling. I talk about things that are on my mind, on my heart. I cry a lot of the time. And I am just met with his love. And I just get to walk around and enjoy, right, how he's trying to delight me,
Yes.
the things that he's offering me. I am I'm being quiet. I'm paying attention to my heart and what my needs are. That is so important to create that space however you want to do it, where you are still and you are paying attention to what your body is saying and you're paying attention to what your heart is needing. And you're connecting with God. You're
Yeah.
sharing that with him. And then you're creating space to receive what he is giving you, because he is giving you so much compassion, so much love, and he wants to meet all of your needs in such an abundant way every single day.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Yes, 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 and amen. And I do the same things. I go for a walk. Unfortunately, I do not live in the middle of nowhere, but I have a trail I can walk. And yes, I have walked like super fast, just tears streaming down my face. And I'm like, oh, well, if anybody sees me, they can just get over it. So, but it's so true, that time alone, because so often it's almost like we as women feel guilty about things like that. But the reality is, it's the old adage, you have to put your oxygen mask on before you help other people. And so I love that first step. It is simple. The first step is so simple. Get some time alone with you and just God. And so that you can work all of those issues out. And I love the reminder of how, your father loves you. Like he loves you. He wants to spend time with you and just to hear from you. And he wants you to just revel in all that he has for you, how that he's done, he's doing. And so that is so, so beautiful. So,
Yeah.
okay. So if a woman is like, Cara, I want to connect with you, where can she find you?
Yeah. Well, you can find me on social media all over the place. On Instagram at just Cara.Nitz. Facebook, same thing. TikTok, I think it's like Cara Nitz Marriage Coach. And Threads, kind of all over the place. YouTube, I think our podcast. So we also do a podcast. My husband and I do it together. We kind of give both sides of the story, and we talk about really vulnerable things. We because a lot of the time we felt so alone, like there's something wrong with us. We must be the only ones going through this. Nobody's talking about it. So we try to talk about those things on our podcast. So the podcast is called Marriage Unmasked, and you can find us there. And then our website, which is thewayforlove.com. You can find us there and all the things that we offer and the resources and all that.
Wonderful. And I will drop all of those links in the show notes. And Cara, thank you so, so much for being here on Everyday Health for the Christian Woman. And I just know that this is going to encourage the women listening to just have the boldness, the confidence to just step into who God has created them to be. Thank you for being here with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What a wonderful interview with Cara. I hope that you are encouraged to know that you are not alone. If any of the struggles that we talked about just really hit home with you, go ahead and reach out to Cara. Leave a comment here. Let us know how this encouraged you, built you up. And the next step is for you to join us in our upcoming workshop. It's called Healing from the Inside Out. Cara will be addressing the need of healing for the woman, especially for her relationships and her marriage. And I will be addressing the root cause of so many symptoms that women are dealing with today: high anxiety, bloating, digestive issues, headaches, brain fog. And one lucky woman will also have the opportunity to have her symptoms reviewed live. So follow the link in the show notes, and I will also drop a link down there for a guide that I put together for you. It covers the top root of symptoms that I see in all of my clients. Follow the link to see Cara and everything that her and her husband are doing to help your marriage be as strong as it can be. Join us in our upcoming workshop, Healing from the Inside Out. And if this encouraged you, challenged you, gave you hope in any way, please share this podcast with a friend, leave a review, and subscribe to Everyday Health for the Christian Woman. And remember, health is a journey, but it is a journey worth taking.